Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Riveme.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of superhero television or film. And this week we are talking about We Can Be Heroes.
We Can Be Heroes, the kind of sequel to Sharkboy and Lavagirl, and also kind of Spy Kids, I found out later.
Apparently, we've never seen the Spy Kids films, but apparently this might be in the Spy Kid-verse or the Sharkboy and Lavagirl-verse.
I think
however,
the Rodrigu-verse?
Rodrigu-verse actually works pretty good.
Hey, they're all connected.
Yeah, Rodrigu-verse that has a nice fluid.
Rodrigu-verse.
Yeah, maybe we're not the first to come to this conclusion or this word.
It's us.
It's us, it's ours. We came up with the Rodrigu-verse. But yeah, it's We Can Be Heroes. I think more directly a sequel to Sharkboy and Lavagirl. And then maybe, from what we read online, implied to exist in the Spy Kids universe. But a Sharkboy Lavagirl sequel for the most part.
Yes, not even for the most part. They're minor characters, but they're definitely there. And then the president was the only one from Spy Kids.
Right.
So that could be.
And their kid is a main character.
Their kid is a main. So it's more of a sequel to Sharkboy and Lavagirl.
Sharkboy and Lavagirl : Generations. That's kind of the movie that we're dealing with. It's
I like
the generational
that.
switch. Yeah.
Generations, like that Star Trek movie.
Yeah, just like
called
that.
Generations.
Just like that one. So we're talking about We Can Be Heroes, which was a Netflix original, I think?
It was a Netflix original, yeah. I don't know if it was ever supposed to go to
anywhere,
theater release or they changed it.
If that was a pivot.
I think it was always Netflix. I didn't look into the distribution part of the Wikipedia on We Can Be Heroes.
Hey, fair enough. I was looking for a budget, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh, that's how you know it's Netflix. No budget.
I couldn't find it listed anywhere. I'm sure, it at some point will be updated somewhere online, but I was very curious, and I could not find an article anywhere listing what the budget of this film was, which I was really fucking curious about.
Did you want to know if it was more than Sharkboy and Lavagirl?
Yeah, I really did want to know if it was more than Sharkboy and Lavagirl, because, well, to get into then right off the bat, let's do a quick spoiler-free review for We Can Be Heroes. Did you like it?
I did like it. I think I might have liked it as much as I like Sharkboy and Lavagirl, which, if you recall, I loved that movie. But in a very different way. This is an actual movie. Sharkboy and Lavagirl is ridiculous.
Right.
And this is a movie with structure and plot and characters and character arcs and stuff going on that makes sense. But it's silly, but it makes sense. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. I was really surprised how much I like it since it's almost all kids. The adults don't do very much. They have names and costumes and stuff, but it's not about the adults, it's about the kids. But the kids are delightful. Their powers are delightful. They do really fun things with them. They go on some nice arcs. I didn't love the ending, I'd say. But other than that, as an adult, I quite enjoyed it. And I imagine kids love this movie. It felt like it was for kids in a way that doesn't speak down to kids.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
They didn't over-explain the powers. They didn't make it too slow-paced or too zany with no plot. It felt like a really nice movie for kids, honestly. I was quite happy with it. I enjoyed it. Andrew, did you like it?
I'm kind of on the same boat with you. I think it's wonderful. I wouldn't give it a love because I didn't love it, but I love their execution of it. I think this is, if you have kids, watch this movie. I think this is a perfect, a preteen, if your kids are into anything on Nickelodeon, this is the perfect movie for you to watch with your kids, where it is entertaining enough for the parents, and it definitely skews younger than maybe a Pixar movie or something that like a Toy Story or something that's equally as good for adults as it is for children. So it definitely skews a bit younger. But if your kids are in that target demographic Nickelodeon age, sit down and watch this movie with your kids. It's fun. You'll have a good time. They might love it. Sharkboy and Lavagirl, when we covered it last week on the podcast, that was a fever dream. Mm-hmm. But that was maybe babies would be really into that, very, very young. But this is competent. It looks good. It's well shot. It's well edited. It's smooth. It goes together really well. I agree with you, without getting into spoilers, that the ending, I think, is not the best. But I think the ending actually is very good for children as well.
Very kid-friendly ending.
Yeah.
And also, I think every kid who watches this will find a character in themselves.
Yeah.
Diverse in powers and diverse in characters and actors, and because like I love when you can find someone that is like you in this. Like, you know, everyone had a favorite Power Ranger and everyone had a favorite Ninja Turtle or whatever. It's great to be able to watch and be like, everyone's going to latch on to one of these many children.
It's a really fun ensemble, for sure. Yeah, they have a really fun group with a fun, just a fun eclectic group. And they really kind of hammered down who all of these kids are, and everything that I think is bad for a reason, because it's better for kids. Like the ending, for example. So there's a lot of stuff where I'm just like, oh, that's bad for me, but it's great for kids. Yeah, if you want something to watch with your kids, watch this. If you don't have kids, I don't think that there's really any need to watch this. It's light and breezy. Like, it's a fine thing to throw on if you're doing chores or folding laundry or something like that.
It's a fun enough nothing movie if you're an adult with no kids. If you're hoping for a lot of Pedro Pascal, he's not really in it that much. I will spoil that much, at least, if you think it's like a Pedro like half even movie.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not.
right.
It's all about the kids.
As we're doing our third
out
of 4 weeks of Pedro Pascal, he's having a hot year.
Crush it. Busy man. Keeping busy in quarantine. Pedro Pascal.
He's doing it. Or he cranked out a hell of a lot of work before that quarantine hit. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's well done. It's good.
It is good. And I know we're not like tapped into the pulse of children's like entertainment.
We are not.
But I feel like they don't make a lot of things for this age range with actual kids. Like, I feel like it's all animated. Like, the only thing I can think of with kids in it this age is like Stranger Things, which isn't for kids.
Right.
And like things with kids in it now aren't for kids.
Well, I really feel like this is entirely Disney Channel, Nickelodeon.
Classic Disney Channel.
But I'm going to say, like, outside of those two very targeted demographic markets, yes, these projects don't go to theaters or Netflix or Prime or other streaming services. This does exist out there, but I think why this is such a strange little unicorn is that it never. I can't recall a time seeing this exact type of property exist outside of Disney Channel or Nickelodeon.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Because the only thing I could think to compare it to was a movie I haven't seen but know about called The Descendants, which is a Disney movie that I know kids really like with live action and kids.
Right.
So yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it feels honestly like a superhero high school musical.
Ooh.
Is the exact level of.
I mean, they're a little younger than that, but yeah.
Yeah, but like that exact level of like Disney Channel, the production quality, the lighting, the aesthetics, the child actors, like it is exactly that. And it's weird to see it exist outside of that realm.
Fair enough, but it's fun. Netflix did a great job.
And can it be spoiled?
I guess that ending can kind of be spoiled, yeah.
Yeah, it can be spoiled, but I can't emphasize it enough. It is a kid's movie. There is a twist, and it is at the twist of a children's film. So I wouldn't stress it too much if I were you, but there is a twist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't Endgame.
Nah.
This isn't quite Endgame.
But all the kids are dead at the end.
But there's a twist.
No, yeah, there's nothing that crazy, but there is a twist. Yeah. All right, well, before we get in then to the spoiler-filled section of the podcast, we want to thank our first sponsor of today's podcast. It's Manscaped.
It's not for kids, but it's for adults, and it's great.
It's for adults. It is great. It's for adults like me, and I think it is fantastic. It's a great way to start out the new year, which is stay clean, stay fresh, stay shaved. New year, new balls, who dis. Trim yourself up. Get yourself under control down there, because Manscaped is going to set you up with a total grooming package. Everything that you need to trim, cut, protect, deodorize, everything for your downstairs.
And it's so important because, like, guys, I feel like we've all been maybe getting a little lazy in quarantine, not keeping it fresh.
Yeah.
And you feel so much better when you've trimmed and deodorized and shaved in your lower regions. But also, like, we're gonna get out soon. We're getting vaccines.
Yeah.
We're getting out soon. You got to be ready to go out in the world.
Dress for the vaccine you want. You know what I mean? Like, if you're on the fourth day of wearing the same shirt and your balls are a mess, like you're not ready.
You're not ready. You're not ready for 2021, the vaccine world where we're gonna see people.
You ain't ready for it.
You got to get your stuff in order. You got to get a trimmer. You got to get deodorant. You got to get moisturized down there. You're gonna feel fresh going into 2021. You're gonna be good.
Manscaped really does make a fantastic product that helps trim and take care of you and get clean balls without any kind of nicks or cuts or anything like that. Like they have their Lawnmower 3.0, which is a waterproof and skin-safe trimmer, which reduces nicks, which is fantastic. It's got a little light built in, so you can help see what you're doing down there. And since it's water safe, you can do it in the shower as well, which makes cleanup easy and a breeze. And here's what I really like about Manscaped's products.
Tell me more.
Is maintenance is so much easier than an overhaul. All right? And that's true of everything in life. And it's also true of your balls and your business. Is that if you let everything go, to go from a mess to clean, maybe that's an hour project. You know, like you gotta put the work in. But when you have good products like Manscaped, which just help you easily, conveniently maintain throughout the week, then you're not doing projects anymore to get yourself up to snuff. You are just maintaining for a minute or two every shower. Like it's really clean and smooth and easy to do.
Yeah, and you're going to look in the mirror and you'll be like, tight.
Yeah.
I look great. And it only took a minute.
You feel it when you walk around too. And their third generation trimmer is just ready to take care of everything that you need it to. They also have their crop preserver, which is an anti-chafing deodorant and moisturizer, which is fantastic as well. I never thought about how it's weird that we don't have a special deodorant for our balls. They are locked up down there. It is a great idea. It works fantastic. It helps provide freshness. And you'll love it.
You'll love it. And they also have the Shed travel bag, which is just a gorgeous bag. Like, we keep it under the sink, and I'm like, whenever I pull it out, I'm like, this deserves to be displayed. It's just to hold all your grooming supplies, but it's this gorgeous, like, leather bag that I can't get over how much I love it.
And they got lots of products to make sure that you're your best down there. They've got anti-chafing boxer briefs, which are wonderful underwear, and they really are anti-chafing. I ran a dang half marathon in them last week. Like, they are comfortable and breathe and do not chafe at all. It's fantastic. And you can get 20% off and free shipping right now with the code TFS at manscaped.com. So that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com, and use promo code TFS to let them know that we sent you. So happy New Year to you and your balls. Manscaped.com, promo code TFS, and thank you, Manscaped, for your support.
Thank you, Manscaped.
And now let's get into the episode. Let's talk about We Can Be Heroes. All right, so we have seen We Can Be Heroes.
We saw it.
I have important questions about this movie.
Oh, excellent. I think I have questions too. Figure it out.
The first of which are to talk about the Rodrigu-verse. Do you think were all of these heroes part of Max's dream?
Because I have a lot of questions about that too.
This was not a world of heroes
in the first movie.
Yes. Until, I think, Mutant 1, Mutant X, Max, the child whose dreams can be brought into the real world, brings Sharkboy, Lavagirl, and the villain Electroman, or Electrodad, Mr. Electric, into the real world. Are all of these other characters, do you think, figments of Max's dream? In the Rodrigu-verse.
I sincerely don't know, because like, there definitely was no magic, no superheroes in the world before Max. Max brought like no one thought superheroes were real. They did, so when Sharkboy and Lavagirl showed up in the first movie, no one was like, "Oh, like superheroes exist." So I think Max created them, but I just do not know about these other heroes. I don't know if like he just put magic into the world and superpowers started happening, if other people dreamt up these heroes. Because I think at the end of Sharkboy and Lavagirl, like the Ice Princess girl made ice powers herself.
Yeah.
I think
she actually did it.
Yeah, I think other people unlocked their dreaming potential as well. Like, I almost expected Max to be the bad guy. Like, like he's created all this and now he has to destroy all this, or some kind of weird twist. Like, yeah, because I think the weirdest thing for me is that Sharkboy and Lavagirl kind of have equal, if lesser, billing than the other adult heroes. And this is a small thing, but they have the youngest kid.
Right.
Which to me tells me they haven't been heroes as long as everyone else.
Like
If you've got older kids, you've been a hero or an adult longer than everyone else.
Right.
So why is their kid like 3 or 4 years younger than everyone else?
Interesting.
If they were the first.
Interesting. I see what you're saying.
That's kind of throwing me off a little. And I just do not know where these heroes, because they've now had like a Justice League like society. They're public figures. There's huge corporations involved. Like, this is a business.
See, what I think is, I think there was like a mutant gene awakening, and that Max had the mutant gene. And his mutant gene allows him to bring things from the dream world or Planet Drool to reality, which he did. But some of these other heroes are older or have older kids because they were living a normal life until their mutant gene activated.
Oh, I can see that. Okay, I think that's like Danny in New Mutants also had the dreams become real.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, no, the main girl in New Mutants.
The main girl in New Mutants.
Yeah.
I don't remember this at all.
The bear comes alive.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay. Yeah, okay, I kind of
But, like,
remember
in a
this now. New
scary
Mutants was a
way.
blur. Did that movie even happen?
We have no, there's no proof it did.
Legally, still no one knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, we just met the first mutant who awakened, which makes sense because he was young. He was at mutant ability age, puberty.
Yeah.
And then they all kind of just blossomed out from there.
Yeah.
Because, I could believe, because Sharkboy and Lavagirl were also kids. So, like, the timeline checks out. If other people also got their powers around then, they could just have kids sooner.
Yeah.
Then Sharkboy and Lavagirl waited until, had an income and stability.
Yeah, adults got powers and had kids pretty quick, but Sharkboy and Lavagirl were still kids at the time. Yeah, and grew up. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I think I can get behind that. Yeah, so some kind of mutant gene opening up in the world, because it definitely is genetic if kids are getting their parents' powers.
Right.
That implies geneticism.
I'm going to go with a mutant gene type of thing.
I think I can live with mutant gene.
All right. That's the lore now. That's
All right,
the
we did it.
Rodrigu-verse. There's a mutant gene going on. And we have all of these heroes. And Christian Slater's in this?
There are weird, oddly famous people in this.
Yeah.
It's only weird that there's some famous people in this, because Christian Slater, Priyanka Chopra, Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
But not Taylor Lautner, who is definitely at equal, if not higher or less ground than each of these people.
Yes, absolutely. Also, Miracle Guy is Boyd Holbrook, who was the villain in Logan and has been in a few other things as well. He was in Predator.
He's a real, I know that guy from something.
He's had some franchises.
He's like a poor man's Tom Hardy all over again.
Yeah, Sung Kang, who was Han in the Fast and Furious franchise. So some big. What Taylor Lautner? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are, Taylor?
Lautner. Like, and watching the movie Sharkboy doesn't do anything, but I assume it's because Sharkboy isn't played by Taylor Lautner. Like, he doesn't get a fight scene like he did in the first one, and he doesn't really have any cool lines. But like, Miracle Guy gets to do stuff, and like all the other heroes are doing things. So I feel like if Taylor Lautner said yes, they'd give him one good fight scene in the beginning when he gets captured.
Yeah.
And he'd get a couple lines.
So
he'd have equal as what Christian Slater's doing.
Absolutely, he would. And is he retired? Like, that is the only explanation I would accept, because he literally, and I'm not judging the man for, you had a very successful young career. You had a decade of big hits, hot money, and checks will probably keep coming in fairly comfortably for a while. If you want to do something else to retire, that is your prerogative. But he hasn't done anything since 2016. So
2018, I thought.
2018. Okay.
But still.
It's been a minute. He's available. It's not like he's wrapped up in another project right now. And you're not too good for this. This is fun. Pedro Pascal's in this. Taylor Lautner.
This is where you started.
Yes.
This is your franchise,
This
Taylor
is yours.
Lautner.
Yes.
Like, no one would have thought less of you for coming back for this.
No.
We all would have been stoked.
This was going to be Taylor Lautner's only chance to be in a film with Pedro Pascal and Christian Slater.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There is no other scenario in which he is going to be in a thing with the Mandalorian or Mr. Robot. Like, it's not happening, Taylor.
Taylor.
And,
like, I'm sure he wouldn't have had a mask on if it was Taylor. Like, that was definitely a hide the fact it's not Taylor mask, because he didn't wear a mask in the first one.
Absolutely.
He didn't transition into mask.
Taylor.
Taylor.
You come back for this.
We're only mad because we wanted to see you in it. because
Yeah.
you were great in the first one,
Yeah.
and we wanted to see him again.
Yes.
That's the only reason we're mad.
And
for love reasons.
And everyone's having fun in this. Like, I think there's no reason not to come have fun.
Yeah, I don't think this was a set rife with, disagreements
Yeah.
and drama. I think this was like everyone's like, look at our cool costumes and look at the kids. They're having a great time. Like, I imagine that scene where the adults are watching the kids on the screen is what the whole movie making process was like. Like, in real life, you just sit there and you watch the kids do their scenes. You're like, oh, look at them. They're jumping around and they're doing stuff.
It's cute.
It's very cute. So, yeah, I would have liked to have seen Taylor.
Okay.
I agree on that one, but still a very fun movie.
This movie is really cute. Immediately, what I was talking about last week in terms of when we talked about Sharkboy and Lavagirl, the look of the movie and how it looked cheap and weird and shitty. I can't find what the budget of this movie is. I really would like to. I can't imagine it's that much more than Sharkboy and Lavagirl. Maybe a little bit because it has named actors who, granted, are probably working for 2 days, taking a pay cut, and just doing it for fun and a little bit of money.
Yeah, they're like friends with Robert Rodriguez. It seems like everyone who works on this is.
Yeah, so I would imagine just because of the named actors, this cost a bit more. But not that much more. But it looks infinitely better. This is everything fixed that I was talking about last week on Sharkboy and Lavagirl. To be like, move the camera, change the visual effects a little bit. You can still have, like, when they're in the alien spaceship, even though this movie isn't in a dream like Sharkboy and Lavagirl was. Dream. It wasn't in that like Sharkboy and Lavagirl. But the alien ship still has that fantastic, super CGI, not really there, like, fun, floaty quality to it, but it is fun and playful and actually works in this.
It's fun and playful, and it feels like they built part of it. Like, everything the kids are standing on feels like it's real, and then the walls feel like they're probably all CG'd. Although I think all the halls were real, the hallways, because they were in the hallways a lot.
Maybe.
They had like 3 different fight scenes in the halls, so I think those might have all been practical. So yeah, I get what you're saying, and it actually really helps your point that I wasn't agreeing with super hard on Lavagirl and Sharkboy, which is that yes, when you have some practical stuff with some better effects and the camera moving and having more fun and being more dynamic, it really does pay off.
Yeah, because the camera work is way better. It moves, the framing is good. Like, it actually feels fluid, and like there's a movement to the characters and to the story because of the camera movement, which is something Sharkboy and Lavagirl didn't have. And the lighting is way better. The lighting on the characters match the environment, and it's evenly lit like a Disney Channel or Nickelodeon show, like a sitcom. Everything's just evenly lit, which is totally fine for a kid's movie.
Oh yeah, it's very relaxing in that way. You're just kind of, it really makes you just sit back and watch it and have a good time. And also I think they did a great job on the powers. They did a fantastic job of choosing really interesting, fun powers for these kids that were not hard to animate, and some could even just be done practically.
Yeah.
Like
I think slow-mo was actually just moving really slowly.
I love this kid because in shots that were about him, I think they were doing some CG stuff to him.
Yeah.
But every shot that wasn't about him and he's just in the background, that kid is just moving slowly.
Yeah.
And he has to do it in every single take. And kudos to this kid.
He's nailing it too.
Yeah, like in scenes where he could just stand there and no one would say anything, because when you stand in slow-mo, you're just standing. But in every scene where he's just in the background, he's just slowly trying to catch up with them because they're always stopping and talking and he's way behind. He's crushing it and he's so funny.
And really funny. Really good actor too. And to find, and I cannot emphasize this enough, a child with the patience to dedicate the silence, quiet, contemplative patience to dedicate to moving in slow motion is breathtaking. Kudos to the casting director who found the calmest and most patient child in the world, who won't ruin a take, who is always in the background, constantly doing the joke of being in slow motion, and never scratches his nose, never gets bored, never fucks off. He is always in it. Wild.
And always has to just a joke that could easily not even be noticed.
Yeah.
Not even like, this is the joke of this scene. Because he does it every single scene. And I know personally, I think I could have, as a kid, moved in slow motion for a while. But I also think it would have hurt me to not be with the other kids constantly.
Yeah.
Because they're always talking and doing scenes without him. I don't even think he can speak due to the slow motion. I think he can say a few words.
He says a few things a couple times.
But
that
he's
are
never
like,
really conversational. So yeah, I think I would have felt very left out as a child actor. But he did a wonderful job. I hope he had fun just running in slow-mo all the time.
And I think it's got to be tough as a child actor, as a child.
It's tough to be a child.
It's tough to be a child, is to let everyone else have the attention in those scenes too.
That's so hard.
Because when it is his shot, and there are a few of them that are his shot, where maybe it is actually slowed down footage at times when it's his shot. But there are a few where it's definitely him just pretending to fall really slowly or whatever. And when it's your shot and they're like, okay, this is you, and you're just there and they're like, be slow. I think then a lot of child actors could have fun and be slow. But to the like, be in the background and you need to let these other 4 child actors play out their lines as you're like doing prop comedy, unappreciated prop comedy.
Unappreciated is right.
Give this child a fucking Oscar. This child is incredible.
I feel like a lot of people were not watching the background for slow-mo. Because I was watching every single time. I was trying to spot him and I was like, he's still moving slow motion. Oh my God, it's not about him.
Yeah.
The scene's not about him and he's going for it. Loved this kid.
And to go back to a contrast to Sharkboy and Lavagirl.
Of course.
Where
These aren't even like the same thing at all. But carry on.
But it's the same director, it's the same writer, it's the same family, it's the same staff, it's the same everything. But the fact that when I was talking about how Sharkboy and Lavagirl should look better and be better in every like realm of production, because it doesn't actually cost that much to make things better. Slow-mo is a kid moving slowly. And it is infinitely better than the lava effect or the CGI sharks. And it's granted a different energy and environment they're going for. But there's simple design things that this movie does really well, just from an element of selling something cheaply, such as not only is slow-mo a great child actor giving a great performance moving slowly, they just have a great sound effect of like this warped alteration. Like whenever they show slow-mo, you hear, and even if it's not slow-mo going like, hang on, you hear this like, whoa. Like the sound of the world around him has changed.
Is bending,
Is bending. And it's one sound effect, but it sells his power 9,000%. Like if you watched this movie on mute, if we just turned the volume down and looked at slow-mo, it doesn't sell it. And it is one sound effect that they repeat and maybe manipulate slightly, but it sells it 1,000,000%. And the guy who plays the adult speedster, Han from Fast and Furious, Sung Kang is his name. Sung Kang's speedster character, when he's in the room kind of talking, all they have, and it actually makes it look like he's moving so fast he's vibrating, is it seems like they just have a very powerful directional wind machine. So his hairs are flapping and vibrating at a wild speed as he's acting normally next to other characters who are not getting hit with the wind machine. And that little bit of movement in his hair, and without filming him separately on a green screen and doing a plate and then laying him into the frame, it's just a fucking wind machine on his hair. But it makes it look like he is vibrating at an uncomfortable speed when he's sitting still. And that little detail, it's literally a $50 rental of a wind machine. And it adds literally $50,000 of production value to how this looks.
That's totally fair, because it's a thing they could have done in the original. They didn't have a speedster, but it shows that just because you did things when CGI was expensive doesn't mean you couldn't do cool things.
Yeah.
And thank you for pointing out that that's why he looked that way, because he did seem like he was like constantly bundled with energy, but in a like a very realistic, not like you've used a blur effect kind of thing.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
couldn't figure out why he felt that way.
Yeah.
And it really did feel like he was just holding speed back the entire time.
Because his clothes flap a little sometimes,
that
but
makes
also like
sense.
he has 1 or 2 strands of hair that
Thank
don't
you.
stop.
That's how they did it. Because it was
Yeah.
a thing that I could feel and couldn't pinpoint why I felt it.
And I don't know for sure, but like
That's
from
what you
watching
think
it,
it happened.
I am 99% confident that it is just a wind machine on him because there's no other like artifacting of using a mask layer to speed up his footage or doing him separately on a green screen, or I didn't see anything to show anything otherwise. It really seems like it's just a wind machine, and it's just so rich. So rich.
I love that. I think they did a really good job of just choosing what powers to give these kids for like easy. Like, they didn't want to CG these kids too much because that kind of ruins the fun. Like, when they're just like, if one of them does have to do like an alone plate that they CG in later and doesn't actually get to be in a scene or something. Because I feel like Acapella was always just on wires whenever
Yeah.
she would sing and float around. And so were the bad guys that she would float up. And everyone else's powers were just like right practical there. Like, the little girl Guppy is definitely just flipping stunt guys who are flipping themselves, but
Yeah.
is incredible.
Absolutely incredible.
But they didn't have anyone who's doing like crazy magic. Even once Wildcard figures out his powers, like then it gets kind of like crazy, like ice and teleporting and everything. But just deciding he can't use his powers is so easy, and just having him do some random things, like become a toaster, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
Where they just make him disappear, then they're just holding a toaster. It's the easiest.
This girl tells the future in drawings. See, oh, she's a tablet. Super easy. Like they really picked incredibly easy powers.
Yeah.
That were easy to play with, but also only took a little bit of CG or practical effects to make work.
Yeah, yeah, and that almost adds to the element of these movies feeling like kids playing.
Yes.
You know, so
like pretending, not acting, like we said last time.
yeah, they're pretending, but they're doing it for the adults. You know, kids playing with kids will pretend fantastical things that you have to, you know, close your eyes and imagine what it's happening. But when kids play pretend to like put on a play for the adults, they're not wizards moving chairs around the room. They pick more like fun, practical stuff that they can actually do. And somehow kids inherently know to do this for an audience. And it works really well in this film. It still feels like kids playing pretend, and it feels natural and fun, but they chose all of the right things to do to make that really work and happen.
Yeah, they did. I really enjoyed that. Another thing I really enjoyed, if I may, very quickly, I really liked this. It was a quick line, but I thought it was actually really brilliant, and I'd like to see it in more superhero stuff. It really spoke to kind of the structure they have in this superhero world when they brought all the kids to the headquarters because the heroes were going into battle, and they're like, if the villains get you and ransom you, it's over. And I'm like, oh my god, every superhero should do this. The Justice League needs a friends and family vault immediately that everyone goes into every time there's an invasion, every time something happens, because how many times does that happen, that your loved ones get captured and held ransom, or like you have to go leave the battle for them or whatever. This was such a quick line, but I absolutely loved the implied structure of the universe from it. Like, people are more important.
Right.
We care about your loved ones. You're not just heroes who are renegades, like you're employees, but we all care about each other. I thought this was a lovely plot point, even though I think it was just for the aliens to get all the kids together. But
Right.
But on its own, I was like, yes, thank you. Protect heroes' families.
I agree, and it backfiring also, or I don't know if it backfired per se. Was it the aliens' plan?
I feel like they probably, I don't know how long they were aliens or if they were always aliens. Like,
I think they were always
Is there a
aliens.
human Priyanka Chopra? Like,
No, I don't think there is.
So she's been an alien like her entire life?
Yeah.
Like, you don't get a job like that quickly. She's been on Earth for years then.
Oh yeah, this is like straight up the Skrull invasion, but for these kids, like for this universe.
That is some long con game going on. Like,
Yeah.
she would have had to start this con before the girl who can read the future even decided to do it.
Yes,
Because she's only like 8 or 9. Unless the aliens age differently. I don't know.
Maybe the aliens age. But no, she said she's a kid on her planet. Yeah, maybe. All right, maybe there is an actual Priyanka Chopra character who's running
like tied
this
up in a basement somewhere.
question mark in stasis or something like that. Yeah, that's
I mean,
entirely
the president's
possible.
last name is I am an alien, though.
Ooh, yeah, you would choose that before you take that identity. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, I think it's been a while.
All right, so they've been here for a while. Maybe they were going to invade, and then this little girl was like, no. We're going to be nice.
I have a different idea.
We're going to do a nice invasion. It's all a little prank.
Let's teach them a lesson they already know.
We'll get into that later.
We'll get into that in a little bit. But first, let's take a quick break in the podcast to thank our other wonderful sponsor of today's episode. You know them and love them. It is teepublic.com.
God damn, I do know and love them. I own so many Teepublic things and different things too. I got masks, I got t-shirts, I got tank tops, I got baseball tees. I surprisingly love the baseball tees, guys. Check them out.
You do love the baseball tees.
It's a fun, different kind of shirt.
Yeah.
And on these shirts, I get wonderful designs made by indie artists that I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you also like their ringer tees as well. Which
I've got a couple of those.
Yeah. I talk you out of a few. I don't think they're your style, but they're some people's style, but they're not your style. The baseball tees are better. To each their own. So you've got a couple ringers. You got the baseball tees. You got the tees. I'm mainly the tees. Long sleeves. I also got a few of their masks now, which are fantastic.
You got a few tanks.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Ray
their
tank
tanks.
And the Flash tank.
That is true. They make, the cut of their tank top's really nice.
We got so much stuff, you guys, and you should too.
Yeah, so don't let the name fool you at teepublic.com. You can get more than just t-shirts. You can also get accessories like cell phone cases, laptop cases, stickers, and more. And all of their designs are created by independent artists who are getting commissions for their work. So you get something cool and unique. You also support an independent artist as well. One shirt that I'm liking this week that was designed specifically for us that is in our store, it is You Old Plate of Soup.
Oh, you guys, Teepublic made us a shirt because unfortunately we aren't artists in the drawing kind.
Not in the drawing sense.
Not in the drawing sense, but it was really cool. It's a great design.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
It looks like the design like for a soup shop, and it's got like the little bowl of soup on the front. It's just You Old Plate of Soup. I love this. I love this You Old Plate of Soup shirt.
It is very much us. That is in our store. My shirt this week is Quarantine Titans, and it's the Teen Titans animated show Titans, and they're on a couch and they're bored because they're in quarantine.
Couple of cuties.
Couple of cuties in quarantine, or you can be a plate of soup. Lots of good options.
You can be whatever you want to be, or you can check out any of the designs we've previously mentioned on the podcast. Also ones that we've never mentioned and maybe just own or think are cool. We've added those to our store. Lots of selection. Or you can just search around the site and find whatever you want. But the important thing is head on over to our storefront, which is at teepublic.fromsuperheroes.com. That's T-E-E public.fromsuperheroes.com. Because when you shop through our link, not only will you support the independent artist who designed that particular design, but you'll also directly support this podcast as well. So head on over to teepublic.fromsuperheroes.com. And thank you, Teepublic, for your support.
Thank you, Teepublic, for your support and for all the things I own from you.
And for all the great clothing as well.
All the great stuff.
That's just a personal front, though.
That's just from me to you, Teepublic.
That was just a private message.
To teepublic.com.
This is a little private shout out. And now back to We Can Be Heroes. Guppy.
What a star.
What a star.
This is why it is a sequel to Sharkboy and Lavagirl, because I know Missy is the leader and technically the lead of this movie, but Guppy is the star of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
She's so great. Oh, my God.
She pops on the screen.
She pops on the screen. They did such a fun job with her powers. Like, just watching a little kid beat up adults, it sounds like I wouldn't like it because I don't really like children all that much. So I'm surprised I like this movie at all, to be totally honest. I don't like things with kids in them generally, but like just the quick effects they would do, like her sunglasses going on.
Yeah.
It didn't seem cheesy. It just seemed cool and fun. Like I felt like she was actually a badass.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do that when you're like 7.
The kid seemed confident in it as well. Yeah.
Like she actually had those powers. Like she's like, I am not acting. I will beat up this man. I have shark teeth. I am going to go for his jugular. I'm going to kill him. No court will convict me. I'm Guppy. And I loved it.
It honestly feels like this child actor really watched Sharkboy and Lavagirl. Like, really watched it and got Taylor Lautner's portrayal of Sharkboy. And I mean in a way that, like, in other projects, many other actors have tried to be like, I'm playing the young version of this character, or I'm trying to play this character's child. And they don't quite get it, despite like being adults and studying that actor's work. But this kid was like, I get Taylor Lautner, and I understand my father is Sharkboy. And that's the bulk of the inspiration. Lavagirl, it is cute that she's wearing like the pink overalls where like it looks like Lavagirl, but she acts like Sharkboy. There's a little bit of both parents there, and like the water powers are definitely like Lavagirl inspired and stuff, but the personality and even the blue shades, which are her dad's sunglasses from the first movie.
Yeah. So yeah, she's definitely more Sharkboy than Lavagirl. But I'm actually super okay with that, because usually I find like things for kids are like, the daughters look exactly like the mom and the sons look exactly like the dad. So I kind of like that she's more like her dad. And I also really like the tiny touches about Sharkboy and Lavagirl. Like, she does control water, but the first time we do it, she spits it right at the camera, even though this isn't a 3D movie.
Yeah.
And so much of Sharkboy and Lavagirl was just spitting at the camera for 3D effect. So she only does it once. They don't overdo it, but it's a very subtle callback.
Yeah.
That I really liked. And you pointed out the music.
Oh yeah, whenever she becomes a badass, whenever she's like intimidating or something, they play a soft piano keys version of her dad's dream song. So like as soon as she's like, you need to get out of my way, you just softly, but like on piano keys in the background, we'll hear like dream, 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 dream. But it's like, it's almost scary.
It's almost scarier.
Ding, ding, dong, ding, dong, dong.
Because that's not like superhero music. That's not like the Avengers theme. That's like, or like Wonder Woman, like, like that's like creepy horror movie
She
music.
sells the shit out of it though.
And it's such a cool idea, because even that song I don't think is a good encapsulation of who Sharkboy is, but it's the only song we have associated to him.
Yeah.
So they're like, what do we do? Do we make it creepy? Like, yes, absolutely. We make the song creepy. And then think she will actually murder these guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did a great job of making it look like she was fighting them. Everything about Guppy was wonderful. I didn't love making a key out of tears. I thought that was gross.
That seemed to bother you more than it bothered me. I thought it was a little dumb. I thought in that scene they were trying to make her go into that shark berserker rage.
I thought the same, so she could break the door down.
Because her mom's powers seem to be like manipulation of a liquid, which is where the water thing comes in. But her dad's powers, the like shark strength and anger, that just seems to be inherent. I don't think you need water for that. So I thought she would just berserker her way out of there.
Yeah, because in the first one, that's how they get out of one of the cages. They just make Sharkboy get real mad.
Yeah.
And then he can suddenly break the metal.
Yeah.
Would have been awesome.
Or I think he bites through it or something.
Oh,
He bites
I think he
through
bites
it.
and pulls, but yeah, he does both. So yeah, I thought that's where that was going, and not let's make a key out of tears. I'm glad they went with tears instead of spit, because I feel like a lot of the things she made was made out of spit. Because she was like, I have to hydrate to be able to make things out of water. So if the water has to go in her body first.
Oh, I thought it was just like coming out of her pores, like just like she's just storing it or whatever.
I don't want to know either way.
Yeah, let's not look too deeply into that.
I'm not gonna. Our job is to analyze things in superhero movies, but I'm happy to move on.
I'm fine not looking too deeply into that one. I really like the premise of this being kind of Missy's movie as like the one with no powers as well, and I like that it ends with her not having it.
I also like that. I really didn't think they were going to go with she never finds her powers. I really thought her bracelet was inhibiting her powers.
Like her dad didn't want her to get into trouble or become a hero.
Or they were too powerful or something, and she was going to have like an overpowered power. So because she takes it off so that Wheels can do something to it. And I thought when she took it off, she was going to be like, oh shit, I have powers.
Okay.
And I was like, that's kind of fine sometimes, but I really do like this idea that you can be a hero without powers.
Yeah,
I think that's a really nice theme.
Yeah, this is a theme and an exploration that we've seen in other superhero media before, to be like, the kid without powers or the one with the weakest powers learning leadership. And then typically they also get really incredible powers, because
I feel like it happens more on like TV. Like the Flash will lose his powers and then he has to save the day without powers, but then he gets his powers back.
Because they want you to still have fun with the person who has powers.
But yeah, I feel like you rarely get someone who never had powers, never will have powers, but also doesn't have anything added. Like, she's not Batman.
Yeah.
She doesn't have gadgets and detective abilities and $1 billion. Like, she's just a real smart kid who can motivate and is willing to sacrifice and is a good leader.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a wonderful message. I was very happy they didn't give her powers.
Yeah, I think it was it was a smart theme, and I think it really works for kids. And this one works for me. I think this works for adults as well. So I really liked that for her.
Yeah, because I think one of my favorite moments in this movie, and like a moment that actually kind of emotionally, genuinely got to me, is when she does like the sacrifice play to get rid of the monsters. And like We Can Be Heroes is being sung, and like it's all getting very emotional, and it's no powers related. She just goes out and she's like, I'm going to do a sacrifice play, and I'm not going to ask my teammates to do it, which is a huge moment, because like there are movies that are like leaders have to lead but not be at the front.
Right.
They have to give instructions more than they have to lead. But I liked the theme of this being like a hero leads by example.
Yeah, that being exactly what Pedro Pascal's character says when he gets captured at the beginning, which, granted is children's writing and on the nose to be like, a hero leads by example. I am the hero. I am your father. I am leading by example. Later, you, my daughter, will learn to be a hero who will lead by example. And is that on the nose? Yes. Is it something that other movies don't want to be on the nose about, so they forget to write a theme entirely?
Yes,
absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. I will take an overlaid out theme almost any day. Or else you get a Gremlins where we're like, what was the theme of this movie? Why did we watch 2 hours of Gremlins?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this just hammering home like a hero leads by your actions. You don't need powers. Anyone can make a difference. It's all great stuff. This is how you get into kids' heads and make them good people.
Yeah.
Now, by making the coolest character the one without powers. So if you relate to her, you can do anything in this world.
Yeah, it's just great superhero writing. It's really great superhero writing. And some movies do it more subtly, like your Avengers movie with like your Cap and Tony, like you're not the guy to lay down on the wire for everyone else and then flying up with the missile at the end and be like, that's the theme. That's the character arc of learning to do the thing that you were told to do in the beginning.
Like, if Avengers had a line when Tony does that, where Cap is like, oh my God, he's laying down on the wire for us. Like, that's the kid version.
That one would be like, that's the kid version.
That's the kid version of the theme.
But you still have to know that that's the theme to obfuscate it a little bit. You have to, as a writer, know and almost like write it down to be like, this is it. It is wildly on the nose. And now if it's for adults, let's add levels of obfuscation to it to like hide this a little bit, to make it a little bit harder to interpret or to add subtlety to it. But let's just leave it at surface level as kids. But some writers just aren't writing it at fucking all, and it drives me bananas. But I love the clear theme of this.
The clear theme is absolutely wonderful.
Or at least the theme that comes out of her and the kids. What this villain theme is real soft and weak and maybe a little bit even too young for this movie. It's a little bit magic school bussy.
Yeah, it's a little bit like no one was ever in danger. It's rated G now. I think it's probably a PG, but then again, I think Netflix doesn't have ratings.
No, I think they still do. They still do.
They do have a kids section.
Yeah.
I know that much because it always pops up. It's the ending I don't love. I mean, I get it's very kid friendly. I will give them that.
So it ends with the betrayer, the alien in their midst, who's also the president is an alien, the leader of the organization is an alien, and it's this
Oho.
Oho is the one on their team who's an alien. And it turns out this is all a trial by an alien society that's run by children to make sure that humanity has good children.
Has good heroes, and that we teach the young heroes to work together because the adults weren't working together.
Yeah.
And they wanted to train the younger generation to do it.
Yeah.
But they also attacked everyone.
Yeah.
Like, Miracle Guy gets messed up in the opening. And I don't even know how Christian Slater lived, because he didn't have any juice in his rocket pack, and he's a regular dude who plummeted to Earth.
They plummeted to Earth, buildings were destroyed.
And then they just cut to the credits, and I'm like, I don't know how Christian Slater's alive. He should be dead.
One of the notes I wrote down when it cut to the credits, I'm like, did this movie just start with a actual murder? Because I thought it started with actual murder. So that was a bit much, for sure. But it's also a theme that the kids didn't need. So this whole lesson to be like, you kids need to learn to be better than your parents. They did, and did so on their own without your probing. You put them all in a room together, which is really the maximum amount of work that the aliens did. But that theme, was already true. And even Pedro Pascal and Christian Slater say it, where they're like, we get along way better than our parents' hero team. So I guess this has been going on a while, because they imply that like the grandmother
because the grandmother
had a
trained
team,
people.
and they even say that like the kids took over for there used to be another, or the parents took over for there used to be another team before them.
Oh no, this breaks our Sharkboy and Lavagirl theory.
It does break it.
Oh no, our lore.
I forgot about that.
Our lore.
Our lore is falling apart. But they do have this moment where the parents say like, we get along way better than our parents did. Yeah, our kids are going to get along better than us. And the aliens are like, yep, you're right.
You're right. We did it.
We taught you that. And like, no. The parents taught these goddamn parents have been parenting these children every day their entire lives. You aliens showed up and destroyed a few buildings, and you're like, we did it.
We did it.
We taught the kids.
We taught the kids. We definitely first traumatized them by making them watch their parents get captured by aliens. A scene even I found upsetting as a viewer.
Yeah.
Who didn't know any of these people.
You locked children together and forced them to watch their parents be destroyed.
For all they know, their parents were dead. They did not know this was a safe kidnapping happening, like a big pranky wanky. Oh, I didn't care for that word.
I didn't care for that
at
all.
I won't be using that again.
Woof.
An old whoopsie doodle coming up. So yeah, these kids are traumatized. And there's like, it's so unnecessary because you've already put people in places of power. Like if Priyanka Chopra was just like, you all have to come here for training and train them. Like she already is in charge of the place where they have to go. We don't need to invade the Earth. We don't need to do any of this. Just train them to be a good superhero team.
Yeah.
This was the biggest overkill lesson I've ever seen. You destroyed things. You attacked people. And at any single moment, any of this could have gone wrong. Like at one point, Priyanka Chopra has a line because Wildcard is doing stuff. And she's like, let's go get him. He could blow up this whole ship. And she's right. He has no control of his crazy-ass powers.
He could turn into a sun.
Exactly. He could have killed everyone on that ship at any moment. And they were like, but we got to teach them to work together. No, not like this.
Not like this.
The stakes are too high.
Yeah.
For their untrained abilities.
Yeah, this whole alien thing, it's a bit of a mess, which I say as an adult, it's fine enough as a kid because it means that no one was any real danger the whole time, which I think if you're a child watching this makes it really fun to watch this maybe too many times to the point that your parents hate. It has that energy about it as a movie where I'm like, I could see a kid watching this 30 times until a parent has lost their mind with how many times this month their kid has wanted to watch We Can Be Heroes.
It does make the scene where they get all kidnapped less traumatizing, even in retrospect, when they're all taken by the aliens, the adults. Yeah, I get on a second viewing, I'd be like, oh, it's all fake. They're fine.
Yeah, so it
would be better.
It does successfully accomplish what I think it's setting out to do, which is soften it up for children. But I also think that there's got to be a way to do that where it still kind of maintains some themes and doesn't feel just so tacked on. But it definitely softens it up because there's this thing when writing for kids, and I can't remember like whose paradigm this is or like what writing book this is from, but the idea of like the parent in the next room.
Oh, I don't know what this is.
Oh, it's the premise that with a kid's adventure. So children go on an adventure, and kids as an audience want to see kids be autonomous. They want kids to be on their own and having this wild and dangerous adventure on their own, but also never be in any real trouble. So they need to be on their own having an adventure, but the parents are in the next room. So if anything goes too wrong, there's always this comfort that the parent is in the next room. It's never actually that dangerous, even though it's the wildest and most dangerous adventure that has ever happened in humanity ever.
Okay, well, in this movie, the parents are literally in the next room.
Yeah.
So that's pretty comforting.
Yeah, so, I forget who to attribute this to. It's probably from a book on writing from someone, and I've heard it ninth hand or whatever, but yeah, it's the parent in the next room.
I can totally get that. I get that vibe. That might explain to me why like Goonies never felt like quite a kid's movie, because they get into some serious actual danger in that film.
The 80s went a little fucking nuts with this concept of like just throw it out the window.
Maybe they didn't have it yet. Maybe this is a 90s concept.
I honestly think it might have been a concept we had And then in the 80s, things got a little nuts. And they were just like, let's give this kid a gun. And they stopped caring about parents in the next room. But I think we're back on track for that now. And like Magic School Bus and Miss Frizzle is a very like good example of that.
They're on an adventure, but there's one adult somewhere.
Yeah, they're having their own adventure. That's their own adventure. And they're learning on their adventure as they get into trouble. But if the trouble gets too much, a parent is right there within seconds, always.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a problematic ending. Like, when you overanalyze it at all, it's like, who can you trust? Who has been an alien their whole life? Who has been lying to you? Like maybe this is kind of like 2 invasions happening at once. There's too much going on here.
Yeah.
It's too much to ask.
There is a bit much. Yeah.
Especially when you've established that pretty much all of the Armada things, it doesn't seem like there's anyone in them. So like you could just blow up the alien Armada. It feels like they're all robotic and there's not really anyone alien you've met except for like 3 people. So I don't think you needed to go this soft, but yeah, I don't even know if that would be my change because like it does work for kids like we said, and this isn't really for us.
Yeah.
So I would, for one of the first times ever, I'm curious what a child thinks. I want to know if kids like this ending.
Do kids like the ending? Specifically the ending. Because I assume most kids like most of it.
Yeah,
but
the rest of it's super fun.
Specifically the ending. The other thing I'm curious about with this movie, and the last thing that I'm curious about really for this movie, is what do you think came first? Securing the rights to the song or naming the movie this?
Oh, We Can Be Heroes?
Yes.
Ooh. That's a tough one. Oh, because it does feel low budget, so I feel like they must have got the song at a steal. Like this feels like an expensive song.
I mean, it's a Bowie song, so it's got to be a little pricey.
Yeah, it's pricey, you know? So, like, you're not just going to willy-nilly name your movie this if you can't get We Can Be Heroes.
And granted, they're doing a cover of it, which I know is cheaper than getting the actual song itself, but I still think you need approval from whoever holds the licensing rights to do that. So, yeah, if they don't get that song... It's so wild to see a movie where I'm like, if you didn't get this song, you've got to rewrite the movie to a certain degree.
I actually think they got the song first because I think We Can Be Heroes is a bad title. I actually don't like it. It doesn't stick in my head. I can't remember it. I don't think it works as a kid's movie. Like, this should have been called, like, Young Heroics, or because, like, the parents were called Heroics, or... Like, it should have been something more fun and poppy. Like, kids don't know what We Can Be Heroes. They don't know who David Bowie is.
Right.
They don't know this song.
New heroes. Kid heroes.
Something like that.
Considering Rodriguez's other franchise, which did very
Spy
successfully,
Kids.
is Spy... Which
Kid Heroes.
You fucking get exactly what the title says.
We Can Be Heroes tells me nothing.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought it was going to be about the kids and adults equally. Because there were such big names in some of the adults. So We Can Be Heroes, I feel like they named it after they got the song rights because I don't think it's a good name. So I think like they were like, we got the song, we're calling
the movie
we gotta name it. Because you can change the name of this movie in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I guess you could change the and still keep the song part even.
You can just sing something else. I mean, you got a girl who sing a different song. Also, that girl needs to help out more. She's constantly just up in the air singing, but not helping or using her powers. Like, she was singing We Can Be Heroes as Missy fell to her death.
Yeah, and she wasn't causing anything to float other than herself, just for something to do.
She was just like, oh, it's like the epic montage moment.
Just for something to do.
Gotta get my songs
You're a bit much, girl.
She was a bit much.
She was a bit
She
much.
stopped being a bit much about halfway through. They gave her like 3 I'm singing an actual song too close together, and then they stopped, which was nice.
Yeah, I actually found the exact same vibe off of her character, where she came in way too hot and aggressive, and with a weird energy of she felt like a trained singer that they hired for this role. That they were like, we got a singer, we're gonna put her in this role, have her sing, 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 sing,
dream,
dream, sing, sing, sing. So we got a singer, have her sing all the time. And after the first scene or two, they kind of gave up on that. And she's a very great fighter as well. And I'm not saying she was a bad singer.
She was a good singer. It was just annoying.
It's just too much of that as written into the script. And she was a great fighter and choreographer. And that was a lot of fun of her doing like these flips and stunts.
Yeah, I feel like they got like a triple threat kid who like maybe she's not martial arts, but she at least knew dance. And that can
Yeah.
translate into stunts on film very easily.
I looked her up. Apparently, she knows martial arts. I forget
shit.
the name of her father, but her father is an actor and stuntman and martial artist. So she is like, continuing the family legacy. And who knows? I didn't see. Maybe her mother's a singer as well or something like that. But yeah, they definitely got a triple threat and kind of forced all of it into the role.
Mm-hmm.
And I really would have found the character maybe less grating if they were like, this is the martial art one, or 3 times in the movie she sings and she's the singing one, but it was a bit much for not the lead.
Yeah. Well, also, because I think it's okay if she sings when it's a full song. Like when she's doing We Can Be Heroes and it's a full integrated song into what's happening. But when she just breaks out into like one verse of a song, you're like, you're the annoying friend. This isn't part of the movie. This is just what annoying people do.
Yeah.
Just break out into one lyric of a song.
Whenever you hear someone in real life who's like, can you imagine what life would be like if it's a musical? It would be this character, and
character.
it's grating.
It's grating.
It's a
Unless
little
you
too
are
much.
doing a big sacrifice play and you're like, oh, please sing me a song
Then
right
it's,
now.
yeah.
I'm doing a big
it's
sacrifice
pretty big and
play.
epic. Okay.
Yeah, that's when you need that character. So she works in those moments. I don't think she had to not sing at all,
Yeah.
but I agree that the little one lines of song was too much.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Well, I'm feeling good on We Can Be Heroes. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I feel like I could watch it again, like in the future, as like just
Yeah.
a fun background thing.
Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, they did a really good job with
They did
this.
a lovely job. It was a fun movie.
All right, well, let's go in for the close where we ask the final question of what would you change? So now that we've discussed everything we've discussed, what would you change about this movie if you could change anything? But before we do ask that final question, we want to remind all of you, if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps out. It really helps us out. It helps us find a new audience, and new listeners get on board because of that.
And if you haven't reviewed yet and you think we're not talking to you, we are talking to you.
We're talking very specifically
We are
to you.
talking specifically to those of you who have not rated or reviewed us. We are asking from the bottom of our hearts, please take a quick second. Let us know how we're doing. Have a couple laughs. You'll be a plate of soup. You'll be nice. We'll get 5 stars. Everybody wins.
It'll be fantastic. So take a second to do that. Free way to support the podcast. Also, doing that or tweeting or Facebook or whatever social media you do, sharing the podcast. Those are the only
so
ways.
helpful.
So helpful. And the only ways that we find a new audience, because we do not have an advertising budget for this podcast. We don't advertise it anywhere. We only get around by word of mouth and moving up in the algorithms and with better reviews. So free way to support the podcast. If you do want to support the podcast monetarily, check us out over on Patreon, which is a monthly subscription service where you can kick in as little as $1 a month or as much as you can afford, and you'll get cool bonuses based on how much you subscribe at. The $1 level gets you our texts from superheroes, our webcomic a day early. You can do 3, you could do 5. You can get access to early access to our Patreon game night streams. You can, at the $10 hero level, get exclusive episodes of this podcast every single month.
Every single month. They're ad-free. They're on a topic we've never done before. There's a bunch of them if you need more talk from superheroes. And also, now you can get a yearly subscription on our Patreon. And you get a little bit of a discount if you go for the yearly.
Free month if you sign up for the yearly as well. So you can dedicate to the yearly if you want. And that's all available over at our Patreon page, patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That's patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. Take a second, check it out. Even if it's only $1, head on over there. And thank you to all of our current and future patrons.
Patrons, you're great.
And now let's ask the final question of what would you change? Diana, what would you change?
My change, I was going to say oddly enough, but maybe not oddly because it is the same writer-director, is I'm just going to change the beginning again, much like I did with Sharkboy and Lavagirl.
Okay.
I did not feel like there was enough setup with the adults as not getting along. When the end theme of the movie is the adults don't get along and we were training the children to get along, I did not get a sense these adults didn't get along. They got their butts kicked, but no one was like, help me, or no one was like, you never listen to me, except for the 2 parents who didn't get along, but also those kids were like mirroring them. So that didn't seem like a full team problem. I really needed some lines from Pedro Pascal that were like, this team's falling apart, or like, we're gonna lose because we can't work together. Like, they all got taken down separately, sure, but that to me doesn't make me feel like they lack teamwork. It just made me feel like they were overpowered. So I really needed some lines and some like really showing me that their teamwork was falling apart. They fought a little once they got captured, but everybody does. Once you get captured, everybody fights. You get mad about it. So I needed a little bit more setup that they were They weren't functioning quite well as a team. And also, I'm completely cutting this Pedro Pascal's retired thing. That went nowhere. There was no reason for him to be retired. There was no reason for him to very quickly unretire. It didn't add anything to the story about leading by example. Like, he could have just been the leader and led by example. So yeah, those are my changes. Other than that, it's a very fun movie. I don't need to change very much about it. Just all that beginning stuff. Gonna give it a quick rewrite. Yeah, Andrew, what would you change?
I really like that. Yeah, I definitely need to see more of the parents squabbling. And I think part of it was just practical, where it really seems like they had a lot of these actors just separately, except for one day when they had a few of them in the same room and they just had to film that. But
they definitely weren't ever in the same shots together. I agree.
Yeah, so that's definitely a practical problem, but I agree with you. It would have added so much to the story to see them squabble more. I'm fully on board with that. What I would change, kind of to piggyback off of your idea, I need to see the kids have more of the same problem as the parents. And I think the big way to do this is we can still have the vault, we lock them all in together when everything goes wrong. But why aren't all of these kids at the same hero school? Like they should all have bickering problems that emulate the bickering problems of the parents to show that they need to learn the lessons so that they don't make the same mistakes. So if we do your change of highlighting that the parents are falling apart and fighting amongst themselves, and I get that our main character, Missy, doesn't have powers, and I think maybe these other kids are in hero school, ?
Because they're there all the time, it seems like.
It seems, but it's a little uncertain. So...
And maybe she only wasn't going because her dad was retired, though. Like, would she always have gone to hero school if her dad wasn't retired?
Let's just get her in hero school.
Just
and maybe they make fun of her because she doesn't have powers and there's more infighting and there is typical school bullshit, which kids are familiar with.
Yeah, these kids all get along too well, except for the brother and sister whose whole point is they don't get along well.
Yeah, they get along too well, too quickly. And they have some like growing pain problems, like the one wild card who's like, I haven't figured out my powers yet. But that's not a problem that's paralleled with the parents. So yeah, I think have Missy in hero school. She's made fun of for not having powers. They're all fighting amongst themselves. They're kids who don't get along, much like the parents. And they have to learn to get along better than the parents.
I will totally agree with that. Yeah, because there's not really any infighting except for the fact that Wildcard wants to be the leader. Yeah. And then it's kind of like what we said about the twist at the end. We find out half the time he was pretending.
Yes.
So for like the whole time they're fighting on the alien ship, he's pretending he wants to be the leader. So they're not actually even infighting then.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree.
And honestly, I feel like he doesn't even care about being the leader within the first scene when Missy proves herself. When Missy's like, here's what's going on with the pictures. The alien's going to come in through that vent. And he's like, what do you think you are, the leader? And it happens. And he's like, all right, yeah, no, you got me. You're the fucking leader. Let's do it.
She got me. Let's go.
So like immediately giving up on your character trait, which is... emotionally healthy and a great thing for that child to do as a real human being.
You're happy for him emotionally.
It doesn't create a lot of conflict in a film, but is a real healthy child for him to be like, you have proven your worth through your skill and competence.
I respect you and I give you the leadership role.
Yeah. So that is nice, but it's no conflict.
I get it. No, I fully support that. Yeah. So more conflict for the adults for me and more conflict from the kids for you.
And then they parallel one another. And then the kids learn something.
Yay!
And then the parents can learn something from the kids.
Oh, you love to see it. And then the aliens are like, we did it.
We did it, ? Get out of here, aliens.
We attacked you violently.
No one asked you to do this, you pieces of shit.
We don't want to be your allies. You guys are jerks.
Fucking aliens. We're sick of you.
Skrulls lying to us.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this week for Talk for Superheroes. Thank you very much for listening. We are going to be back next week, and we are going to be talking about Cobra Kai Season 3.
Ooh, we have not covered Cobra Kai before.
Yeah, a fun little different thing for the podcast.
It's going to be cool. I don't think we've ever jumped into a show late. I mean, we watched season 1 and 2.
Yeah. We definitely, we must have, but I can't recall. But maybe we haven't. So Cobra Kai Season 3 is what we're talking about next week. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me on Twitter at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can reach me at Words of Diana.
And you can reach both of us at From Superheroes, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.